Hello and welcome to the current issue of AFLA's Time Capsule. This is a review of past presidents and people who were influential at AFLA. And today I'm lucky enough to have with us Susan Miller, Senior Fleet Manager for McDonald's Corporation. Sue was our president from 1998 to 1999, exactly 10 years ago, and AFLA's 30th anniversary. And Sue's going to take us back to that period of time.
Well, it was quite the walk down memory lane, that's for sure. I had the ability to look through the old conference journal that Rick still had, thankfully, and of course I still had my June issue from Automotive Fleet when I was lucky enough to be awarded the Fleet Manager of the Year. And going through all of this materials, it's amazing how many things have changed, but really also how few things have. But at that time, 1998 and 1999, everything was really pretty still embryonic as far as the level of change that was going to occur. But what I remember from our board meetings the most were that we were, everybody was starting to survey everything. I know Jim had talked about that in his last video, but it really took that long for everyone to warm up to the idea of surveying the membership on a large basis instead of having the directors at large get feedback. And we were still at that point saying, what site locations should we have? Do we have one meeting a year or two? Do we try to increase membership, or do we try to keep it at this intimate group that we, really all enjoyed? Because that's one of the beautiful things about AFLA. It's, you may have 250 or 300 people in one room, but it feels like a really small cocktail party. We were talking about doing audits of AFLA's information, and, also how much do we spend for speakers? How much could we spend for speakers? How much was the membership willing to tolerate in terms of a conference fee? So there was a lot of concern for the membership, and it was just really starting to get stirred up at that point that we really needed to involve them more at large. But the thing I remember most, and it just brings such a nice big smile on my face, is when you walk into the boardroom meetings and you'd see yourself. You've got Ed Bobbitt, you had Don Fenton, Milo Maddock, George Weimer, Pierce Walsh. I wrote down some names because I didn't want to forget everybody, but I'm sure that there's people I'm still leaving out. But you had Pete Zwolinski, there was Bob Mayfield, and then let's not forget some of the women in Fleet. You had Helen Kamen, who was the first AFLA president, Debbie Mize, Judy Baxter, and I'm sure I'm leaving some names out, but these are the faces that really stuck out to me. It was also a time when more and more NAFA members were coming over to AFLA because they were seeking a change and I want to say a higher level of industry knowledge, which AFLA was able to provide by the broad base of membership that we had from all facets of the industry. So we really covered in our seminars a lot of broad industry topics that impacted everyone. And it was also still the AFLA Golf Scrambler. I mean, who knew that in 2 short years it would become the Pete Z Memorial? So there's so much experience and wisdom at that time, and there still is now, but when you reflect back at 10 years, how those people had brought it forward to what it is now. And I was talking about change being embryonic at that point. The internet was like the newest buzzword. I mean, people were like, wow, how do we take advantage of this? How do we use it? What do we use it for? I mean, there weren't even used car sales on the internet at that point, if you can imagine that. Bluetooth, I think, was just a techie term that the people who were designing it used, but OnStar was new. I mean, people thought that was the best thing since sliced bread. And, anti-lock brakes were still an option. Side impact airbags were still being talked about. They wouldn't be available for like another 1.5 years, 2 years on some Ford products. And Oldsmobile was still a really strong nameplate. So I think while it's true that so much has changed in the industry, a lot of things have stayed the same. Our jobs are changed and impacted by the use of technology, but we're still all focusing on the same thing, whether it's growing our business or on a corporate fleet manager side, maintaining costs and managing costs. I mean, let's not forget 10 years ago in the automotive fleet, the average cost of gas was $1.05 a gallon nationwide. So there's a lot that has changed over the years, but what doesn't change for me in AFLA is that it's still the place where all facets of the industry come together for one special time where you can nurture relationships or build new ones across the industry. You're not singled to a certain event or a certain focus. It's very broad and impacting, and there's something there for everyone, and I hope we never lose that intimacy.
Thank you, Sue, for taking us back to the last 10 years. You can view all the AFLA time capsules at the AFLA website, aflaonline.com. Thank you.